Oh god, these motherfuckers in my mentions. Just absolutely. Sorry if I said that while we were streaming. My fault.
Yes,
I the good people of what's our sponsor's name?
Tick pick.
Dick pic.
Yeah, they do not condone my language.
That's all good. That's
We also might not have that many people.
Yeah, we were going to sleep, but we got to do the first show of the year at least.
Yeah, we got a half hour max for your boy over here.
Yeah,
Jared Williams, go sit on a bike without a seat on it. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Oh man, where are you coming from? Where are these guys coming from?
That could have been a jump
Oh, what's
ball
happening?
tie-up.
Why am I? Oh god.
Yeah, bro, come on, fix that audio. Hold on, let me share this.
ESPN's website, absolute worst.
Can I
ESPN
not?
in general.
I used to be able to copy your tweet. Now I can't.
You can, bro. I see.
Jared's mom.
Oh, never mind.
I can confirm what Quinn just said.
You said what?
I said I can confirm what Quinn just said.
What did Quinn just say? Oh, I let that off. I let that off by accident.
No, it's all right. We can vent a little bit. By the way, how about I got my 2015 Champions Pinstripe Bowl hat. Little Duke football love going on here.
Hey, Twitter, I missed y'all. I already see. Time to overreact. 100%. Time to overreact. People are going to get crazy tonight. Just to start off the bat, I mean, we're not going to jump into it right yet, but I'm not even mad about this loss, man. I'm really not even mad about this loss, but we could jump right. Hold on, right? We gotta play the intro, bro. I know it's been like 5 months, bro. Come on, man.
Nobody outside of Kentucky cares about that rivalry.
Exactly.
Who cares about
wins 2015 or 2010, and everybody is saying 2015. So
just got back up here, John, a couple days ago. So been in the gym a little bit. Me and Joey been in the gym working out together.
As Duke fans, as Duke coaches. But I get excited over there, even in my suit. I'm grabbing Coach Tyler's leg, like.
Nobody outside of Kentucky cares about that rivalry.
Who cares? My fault had to loop on that.
It's that kind of night. Too late.
It's been 6 months. I haven't. We got to get used to this again, man. I also realized probably got to take Nolan Smith off the intro. Got to get a new one. Louisville coach now, but
hey, they need to put him in the game, man.
Yikes!
Yeah.
They are sorry, dude.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Louisville. Someone said y'all need to get Nolan out that intro. But welcome back, Crazy Twitter Live. New season, 2022, 2023 season. We're back. Ryan, Russ. The show is sponsored by TickPick. Use the promo code Duke Nation down there on the ticker. You can see it. Get discounted Duke tickets. Shout out to the Devil's Den, live from the Devil's Den Facebook for all the people on Facebook who are wondering who we are. But yeah, first loss of the year, tough one. I'm not too mad about it, but let y'all fellas get into it. Ryan, get it started.
Yeah, like I said backstage, it's not one to be like super mad at, especially where we don't have Derek, which is huge. I mean, I don't think people are going to talk about that enough after tonight. But it felt like before the 4-minute mark that like we had this in the bag. Like it was almost like I was ready to come on this show and talk up all of our players and be super excited and optimistic about it. And then it was just like 4 minutes in, or 4 minutes left to go, and it was just like everything went to hell. Our offense was ISO ball and just seemed like who could come up with a basket first. And then defensively, we couldn't stop Grady Dick, which was weird for a guy who sat for 6 minutes straight in the late second half. And so it's tough. I'm excited for this team. I want to give one comment, and it's somewhat of a shout out to Hank Tucker, who used to cover Duke for the Duke Chronicle, which is an interesting stat from the Champions Classic. Duke, when they had their last 5 wins in the Champions Classic, have all led, those seasons have all led to Elite 8 runs or better. and the last 4 losses in the Champions Classic have led to 3 tournament wins total. And so I am definitely not saying that's what's going to happen for this team, but it is actually, I found that very interesting to start the night that Duke teams who win the Champions Classic game go on to do better in March Madness than they do if they lose. I think this team is completely different when Dariq Whitehead comes back. You're not going to see a lot of probably as much of Jalen Blakes, who played an interesting game tonight, to say the least. And I think the diversity in the lineup becomes a lot better in the last 4 minutes. So I'm not super concerned. But yeah, just a weird ending to a game I thought we were going to close out. So Russ, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, kind of needed to close it out. I mean, joking on Louisville earlier, I mean, this is going to be another year where the ACC strength of schedule is going to be really low. Like, we need to get some of these pre-conference wins. And, you know, if we just weren't going to win this one, then, like, that's fine. But it feels so annoying to, like, feel like we have it and then just, like, to watch it slip away. You know, if we'd won that Kansas game, that alleviates so much of the pressure on some of the other ones. And even with Whitehead coming back, is he going to be on some sort of minutes restriction? Is he gonna be fully ready in PK 85 when we got some good competition? You know, is he going to be fully integrated and comfortable by the time we play Ohio State? You know, there's some questions there, and so we do kind of need to close games like this. I don't want to say I'm less okay with it than you all, but I'm discouraged by a couple of things, certainly. And part of it is credit to Kansas. I mean, they just outcoached us, simple and plain. That was pretty obvious to anybody with eyes watching.
A Shire shot to start the night, Russ.
I mean, Coach K got outcoached sometimes too. I mean, like, good coaches get out
sometimes.
It happens.
Coach K got outcoached a lot.
I got some words for him, but go ahead.
Sure, but so, like, you know, they knew from our previous games and from the game tape that we've shown, when we're driving into the paint, we're not passing. We're just not passing basically ever outside of, like, Proctor. No one's looking to pass on a dribble drive at all right now, period. Mm-mm. And it just continued to happen constantly throughout the game. I was encouraged at the beginning of the second half. Proctor was running the offense a little more. The ball movement was better. We were seeing him sort of do the kick to the opposite corner. That was very effective for us. I mean, like, things were working pretty well there. And then we just got right back to, like, Mark Mitchell driving, not passing, Roach driving, not passing, zero looking for other players whatsoever. So that's really discouraging, considering when we talked before, I was kind of excited about that we might run plays this year, right? That the offense might not just be ISO ball. We might, like, actually run plays and offense, and how exciting that would be. So that's really discouraging. I mean, like, 8 assists, 18 turnovers, really bad. Obviously, it was 2-11 in the first half, exorbitantly awful. And then defensively, as somebody mentioned in the comments already, we just didn't have – I mentioned this on my podcast too. We don't have guys to defend 6'6", 6'8" guys other than Mark Mitchell. And even Mark, like, he gets burned some on those back cuts. Like, he's good on ball, but not very good on ball right now. Honestly, Flip was doing a lot better than I expected. Flip was one of the more net positive defenders out there tonight. Proctor looked good defensively. Mitchell and on ball looked good. Like, so I think that the defense, there's stuff to be happy about, especially when Whitehead gets back. I think if Whitehead plays the game, forget the offense. Like, defensively, it's just a whole nother ball game. Grady Dick can't do what he did against Jeremy Roach, against Jalen Blakes down the stretch, because we're not having to throw a 6'2" guy out to guard a 6'8" guy. Like, hopefully that just happens way less. So defense, I'm fine with, especially once Lively gets back into shape. Offense, I did not like what I saw tonight. In particular, I hate to say it, but from our captain, I mean, just, I don't know what the last 8 to 9 possessions were, but I mean, 6 to 7 of them were him not even remotely considering passing the ball at all. And he drove into traffic a lot, got blocked a lot, turned it over a couple times. It was a bad game from our captain in a situation where we really needed a good one.
Yeah. I mean, and I think to your point about the 6'8" guards, I would say this guy right here. he's going to be one guy that's going to be help us defensively guarding, wings and stuff.
But he might also take some time to get integrated to like making the switches to like just getting used to playing, right? Like, and these are very important games in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
100%. But I do think instinctually he's pretty up there, at least on the team, just like off of instincts. But I mean, my biggest gripe tonight, I thought this game was very winnable. Very winnable.
Oh, 100%.
Even up 5. I don't know how many minutes. It was like 5 or 6 minutes left. Why is Ryan Young in the game?
He shouldn't be in the game.
I said it after the first 4 minutes. I tweeted it. Let me check what I said just to make sure I'm saying it right.
I don't know what his plus minus was, dude, but it was bad. I'll tell you that.
It's not going to be good.
Because this box score is just ugly from head to toe.
I want to see. Do you have a box score with the plus minus? Can we see that if you have it?
Yeah. Hold on. But while you pull it up, though, I want to say one thing, though, and that's Ryan Young's going to be a guy that Duke fans go back and forth on all year. Like, Ryan Young's going to be a guy who plays really well against certain teams, but against teams like Kansas, small ball lineups, like there's no reason he should be seeing the floor. And Zion tweeted it, I tweeted it, I'm sure Russ, you tweeted it. Like, there's no reason for him to see the floor in the second half because from a matchup standpoint, he didn't make any sense playing against Kansas. And so
his plus minus is better than I thought it was, honestly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was really bad. I honestly, Ryan, a little bit, I disagree there. Like, yeah, he can play well against teams that aren't good. With
a traditional 5, he's going to be just fine.
No, I don't know that that's true, Ryan, because he's not a rim protector. He's not somebody he's very ground bound, right? So if we're playing against a guy who's 6'11" and can jump a little bit, Ryan can't play against that guy.
That's the thing. You're really playing when you're playing Ryan Young, and that's why I kind of I texted to someone. I read off the text. I said he doesn't box out, like Russ said. He doesn't protect the rim. He's a back to the basket player, and even this game, he was catching the ball in the post and facing up. So once you face up, you eliminate your game, and now he's getting stripped when he's trying to take the ball.
Yeah. He doesn't look to pass really. All he can do is back it down on ISO. And Kansas, again, to their credit, they knew, right? The second he caught the ball, they sent a second guy over, and it was game over. Basically, every time he got fed the ball for stuff that worked against mid-major opponents. So like he's a guy that clearly has to be like the 8th, 9th guy in our rotation. Like he can't be starting, in my opinion.
He won't start. I don't want to sit here and say I'm driving the Ryan Young bandwagon, but I do think there's a place for him in this team. I'm not saying it's a starting lineup. I do. I think
it's 10 minutes a game.
But you have to be realistic in why we brought Ryan Young in. It was to support the lively flip front court more than anything. It was supposed to even more so get them ready in practice to be physical. But like I said, when I tweeted after the first 4 minutes, I was like, okay, the first 4 minutes we had to throw that starting lineup out there because you started that in the first 2 games. Realistically, coming into this game, we knew Ryan Young was not going to be a good fit against this team. So the fact we already had Flip on the floor, when you put Ryan Young on the floor, we know you're going to struggle defensively.
But here's my question though is like there's a reason Young played 20 minutes tonight, and there's a reason Lively played the exact same amount. There's a restriction there. There has to be. So
yes, but there's a restriction, but at that point,
there's not a necessity to play 2 bigs, Ryan.
Exactly. And in the second half, once you take Lively out, you're supposed to move Flip to the 5 and put Mitchell at the 4. I even think Mitchell is better at the 4. Mitchell at the 3 scared me coming into the season because he's not a shooter. So the floor is limited, spacing is restricted. So when you have Mark Mitchell at the 4, I think he's playing his best position.
Yes.
So why are we forcing a 2 big lineup? Why are we forcing it? That's not even realistic.
Well, the answer to that question, Zion, is obviously once we have Mitchell and Flip and Lively, it's about getting as many of our most talented players out onto the floor at once as we possibly can. But in a matchup like this, where we're playing Young to be our second big, there's no justification for it, in my opinion, especially even though Grandison did not look good in the first half. Grandison is more the size and the versatility and the defensive type of dude that can play against a team like a Kansas. And so for us to not see him at all in the second half, I was very surprised by that. We really could have used a player of his size and to some extent his experience level. And
I don't even want to like rag on Ryan Young too much because like obviously, like you said, Lively was limited, so like they're gonna go with the guy they trusted all preseason. But like it was just like at the end of the game, like I saw a chance for us to extend that lead from 5 to like 10. Like Kansas was missing shots. I think a lot of the defense, we played okay defense, but a lot of it was Kansas was missing wide open shots. So when they give you this opportunity to extend the lead, you got to have your best lineup out there. But like, let me get off Ryan Young. Because I want to
let me just add to that because like I've been accused a couple times of being like a Jalen Blake's hater also. Like I think to the point that you just said, like we're not dunking on the guy. He has a role on the team that is an important role, and that role is like a 12-minute per game kind of guy. Maybe he can play more in certain matchups. Maybe he doesn't play at all in other matchups. Jalen Blake's same thing. He should be sophomore year gold wire level contributor, right? He's a guy who comes in for energy and intensity. He defends opposing guards because, Roach is still struggling a little bit one-on-one, against some of those guys. So putting Blake's in to like ramp up the energy is great. And that's all we need him to do. We do not need supporting guys to drive into traffic. We don't need supporting guys to be ball stoppers on offense. You've got to know your role. And so I think once Whitehead gets back, hopefully guys like Young and Blake's will have very clearly defined roles where we can let them spread their wings a little to help them develop for next season, but like within reasonable boundaries, right? Like we just shouldn't be doing these things as much against an opponent like Kansas in a game that we should have in the bag.
Yeah. But I even seeing all this Jalen Blake's comments, like, Jalen, I think he gave us a little bit fool's gold the first 2 games because tonight he kind of reverted back to what we've seen. He's
the same guy. He's the same guy. I was being driven crazy when people were like, dude, he's going to make all his threes this year. Bro, look at the shot, though. Look at the way it looks. Use the eyes.
No, but let's pause for a second. Okay? Yeah. Because if you would have told me at the end of last season that Jalen Blakes would have played 18 minutes in the Kansas game at the beginning of the season, I would have told you were absolutely insane. So I want to give huge shout out for Jalen Blakes. Huge improvement. The defense he played tonight was outstanding. He played great defense tonight. His offensive ability that he thought he had was,
I don't know about that.
He didn't play that bad on the defensive end. You can call it a couple plays, especially ones where the refs I think were a little more aggressive than they should have been. He definitely tried to go a little bit further on the offensive end than he needed to go. But like I want to give Blake's a little bit of credit here. Like with Derek Whitehead out, he stepped in and played a decent role for this team. I don't think when Whitehead comes back, it's him or Granderson that's going to go out when it comes to Whitehead
it's going to be Jalen Blake's.
It's definitely going to be Jalen Blake's.
You say you say that now. Look at tonight.
Bro,
Jacob didn't play in the second half. I'm not saying that Blake's is going to be 100% the one, but like you look at tonight, Granderson had a leash. Blake's didn't. There was no leash on Blake's tonight.
You're right about that, but we can also sit and say that is a very questionable decision. And the fact that we had Grady Dick hunting out Jalen Blake's down the stretch to drive on guys of his size. Why was out there? Maybe that doesn't happen. Like I'm not saying, like I'm sure, like Shire had his reasons, right? He's got guys he trusts. I have no doubt.
Let's pause. Let's pause for a second, Russ. I love Proctor in the first 16 minutes of the second half was great. Where was Proctor when Grady Dick came back in the game?
Yeah, he was running his rotations. They weren't hunting him out. Proctor can't leave his guy to go find Grady Dick. Like Grady Dick, when they were running their offense,
he was on the bench. They were running the last 4 minutes.
They were hunting Jeremy Roach on defense. They were hunting Jalen Blake's on defense. And when Ryan Young was out there, they're hunting Ryan Young in space in the pick and roll. Like Tyrese Proctor is doing his job. Like at the end of the day, he can't be a free safety on defense. Like, and on offense, he can't make a contribution if he doesn't touch the ball. So, like,
I'm not bashing Proctor. I'm bashing why Proctor was on the bench with 2 minutes to go and Blake's was on the floor.
I 100% agree with that, and I think
I don't get that at all. I saw that and I was just confused. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Like
it's got to be a trust. Yeah, it's got to be a trust thing, I guess.
And that's not me calling. I went to you because you're a Proctor stan, and I am too. I'm getting there, but like I remember when I was watching the last 4 minutes of the game, and Proctor's sitting on the bench getting water, and Blake's is in the game. I'm like, wait, there's 2 minutes left in the game, and Proctor's on the bench. What is going on here?
I can't even. I was really happy for Proctor tonight, so I can't even really like.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was the reason why Duke turned it around in the second round.
Yeah, he and Flip turned the game around for us by themselves.
He jump started it for us. So like,
I agree.
And he was hunting Grady Dick, right? He was hunting in the first couple of minutes of the game. Sam Vecini,
they went right after him.
They were literally just running screens so that he could get him in ISO against Grady Dick, and then he was just ripping Grady Dick a new one because Grady Dick can't play defense. And just unfortunately, Grady Dick did the exact same thing to our guards at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So how do we? This is a rhetorical question because I have an answer, but I'm going to leave it to you two first. Like, Lively. The touches weren't there. The shots weren't there. Obviously a playmaker. How do you get, and I think I already know what your answers are probably going to be here with the 2-man 7-footer lineup, but like, how do you get Lively more involved from an offensive standpoint, especially against a smaller team that we played against tonight?
I'll talk first because a lot of people were killing me when I tweeted this. But I think a lot of the times you do have to actually put Lively on the block and give him the ball. Like, sometimes you just have to do it. A lot of people are talking about,
I agree.
He doesn't have a post game. He doesn't. He doesn't.
He's bigger.
Just run lobs. Throw lobs. Do the Mark Williams thing. Yeah.
They put a 6'7" dude on him. He's 7'1" and he's athletic. He's going to all he has
throw
to do
the ball high.
That's the ball.
100%.
Exactly. You throw the ball to Marshall Plumlee. You can't tell me Marshall Plumlee has better coordination than Derek Lively. So like. That team, but it's also him too. He has to be more aggressive getting that position. Also has to be more aggressive rolling to the rim. But I think that will come.
He rolled to the rim in the second half a lot, and it's just hard for him to get fed the ball when the guys who are running the pick and roll with him are more content to dribble into traffic rather than looking for the guy that's rolling, who is open and who is like, look at what Mark Williams did last year. It's not like Mark Williams had like a brilliant post-up game or whatever, right? Like, Mark Williams was fine on the block. It's just if you threw the ball high, he was bigger and taller and could jump higher and could catch it. And Proctor understands that. And like, occasionally, I think we saw Roach feed him like once, but like, we had way too much Roach dribbling into traffic. We had way too much Mark Mitchell dribbling into traffic. So to your point, I think the answer is you have to run plays. Like the best way to Lively the ball, especially if right now he's struggling to get position on the block because he's still young, he's still skinny, he's still trying to figure it out. Run pick and roll and feed him on the roll. When he's diving, throw the ball high for lobs. All you have to do is do that 3 times a game. That's 6 points a game so easily if you just do it, but you have to try.
And to that point, like I'm seeing it still now. Like, people are telling me that's not his game, bro. Number one, if you're a 6, like I'll say it again, if you're a 7'1" big, athletic, have coordination, and you can't catch the ball in the post and just go up and score over 6, 7 guards, you shouldn't be a top 15 pick in the NBA draft. So we should just rule that. If he can't do that, if he really can't do that, he should not be a top 15 pick in the NBA.
If you think he can't do that, throw the ball high near the rim. He doesn't even need to catch it and come down and come back.
Mark Williams had no post game at all.
Have him jump and do this, right? It's not complicated, but you have to get him involved. I completely agreed with Zion when you were tweeting it, and people were like, "Oh, but like, what are you gonna do? Throw the ball high, give him plays, like give him a try." We have to run certain guys' plays. I'm getting driven crazy by Jacob Grandison not getting looks in the corner, which is where he was deadly in Illinois. He's taken threes from like
only one of the corners, though, right? It was only like one of the corners. It was like the right corner, right?
Then you gotta put him there. Like, what he's
taking, I agree.
He's taking them from like adjacent to the elbows, and it's not his game, so he's missing those. And we're not running plays for him, despite the fact that he's a genius at that. We're not running plays for Lively to just catch the ball and dunk it. When we run pick and roll, it looks phenomenal. Like, but we have to keep running it. And these ISO plays today, that's why, like, it's hard for me to be completely like, it was just one game, it was fine. I don't like that early in Shire's career, we're watching a game in which 30 of the 40 minutes is watching what we saw for end of games for the last several years, where it's just a guy putting his head down and bulldozing, especially Jeremy Roach, who is too short to be doing that, first of all, who does not have a floater game that I can tell right now, and who just kept getting blocked time and again, or running into a body and just having to fall over time and again. Like, if he can't get a floater game, or he's not looking to pass, then that play is useless to me. Like, it just is.
Yeah.
He made one or two of them. He's an awesome player. He made a clutch three there down the stretch. Then he also had that one where he dribbled the air out of the ball and chucked a three without even thinking about passing to anybody. Like, he's not Paolo. He's not Zion or RJ.
I think Roach came into the year, and Zion, maybe you can attest to this. I think Roach came into the year like feeling the confidence and or pressure of needing to be the guy from a scoring standpoint, especially with Derek being out. And tonight kind of showed that, right? Like he put the ball in his hands a lot. And where he left off in March is kind of what he did too, right? Like he put the ball in his hands and made plays happen, whether that was feeding Paulo or feeding Mark or making big shots. Tonight he just kind of tried to do it all himself in the last 8 minutes of the game, and it just didn't happen. Like,
he wasn't feeding at all today.
7 months ago. No, none at all. There was no facilitating.
I brought this up over the summer, and I'm going to bring it up again. I think having Roach serve more as like the shooting guard and Proctor serving as the guy like initiating offense is something that the team should at least tiptoe into considering. That doesn't mean Roach isn't the guy making big shots down the stretch. That doesn't mean any of that. But like, the offense was so stagnant tonight, except when Proctor was initiating the offense. And then there was spacing, there was movement, everything came alive. Like, even when Proctor wasn't making shots, he was still moving the ball.
That skip pass he had to Roach in the corner.
He had multiple skip passes to the corner that then sent Kansas scrambling, and nobody else on our roster can make that skip pass. Nobody but him right now. Or certainly maybe they can and they just haven't shown it, right? Like, we have to let him initiate and create space for others.
Yeah, I won't go as far as to say Roach should be like the quote unquote shooting guard, but I definitely think they need to get Proctor the ball way more. Put him a little bit way more.
He'll lead the team in assists. I feel pretty confident that Proctor will end the season leading the team in at least assists per game.
I want to make this clear that I ask these questions. I ask these questions because not because I don't have thoughts, because I want to.
Proctor had 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Roach 1 assist, 3 turnovers.
Go ahead, Ryan.
As a facilitator of Crazy Twitter Live, I ask these questions to continue the conversation, not because I don't have a comment. I would love to get all of our opinions on not the starting lineup, the finishing lineup when Derek comes back.
I was about to tweet that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What is your ideal finishing like tonight? Because that's what cost us the game, was the finishing lineup of the last 4 minutes. We were up by 4 or 5 going into it. In that under 4 timeout, we ended up calling a timeout late into it, but regardless, we ended up losing it because of that. So what is your finishing 5 once Derek comes back?
You need finishing and starting.
Well,
which should be somewhat of the same, in my opinion.
I think finishing depends on the opponent in a big way, right? Like,
it does, but ideal. Let's go ideal.
Yeah, I'll tell you 2 people who aren't in it, and it's Ryan Young and Jalen Blakes. Okay, I think that what you've got, if it's a really small team, then I would be certainly considering doing something like Roach, Proctor, Whitehead, Mitchell. Maybe even Grandison Mitchell if it's a really small team, or like Mitchell Flip. Maybe if Lively has come along, you do something like that. If it's a team that's somewhat bigger, I'm happy to go with something along the lines of Roach, Proctor, Mitchell, Flip, Lively, even though I think the offense might struggle a little in that respect. Like, I think there's 7 guys who could theoretically be in closing lineups once Whitehead gets back, depending on the size of the opponent, the versatility of the opponent. I just am surprised that Jalen Blake's was in down the stretch over some of the other options, and I'm surprised that Ryan Young played so much in the last 6 minutes, even with Lively on the minutes restriction.
So wait. Read me back. What's your lineup?
I was saying it depends on the opponent.
That's just a cop out, bro.
That's a cop out. Yeah, come on.
It's so
National championship on the line. National championship on the line. Who's the lineup? Who's the lineup you have out there?
I think the starting five. I mean, Justin's isn't bad. I think you have Roach, Proctor, and Whitehead. This is exactly what I said in the summer too. You have Roach, you have Proctor, you have Whitehead. You almost certainly have Lively, and then either Mitchell or Flip, depending on like who we're playing, maybe. Or you can do a Mitchell Flip if Lively's not ready. I think 2 out of the 3 Mitchell Flip Lively have to be there. Roach, Proctor, Whitehead have to be there. That's my cop-out answer, admittedly, but it depends on the size of the opponent.
It definitely does, because like if you go back to like 2010, if you think about like lineups and everything when it comes to actual games, like Zubek isn't in the lineup when it. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of that, but like Zubek isn't in the lineup against certain teams. Lance Thomas is there, and like so it does make a difference in the lineup. But like your most talented is what we're kind of going for here. So Zion, I'll let you go, and then I probably will agree with both at that point.
Someone said I'm gonna read. Somebody says Flip at the 5. Someone said Mitchell, Derek, Roach, Locks. Oh man, someone said Blake's in there. I'm gonna ignore that one. Obviously Roach got to be in there, and it's tough. It gets tough in the middle. It gets really, really tough because I'm not a fan of Mark Mitchell at the 3, but
yeah. But so, like Flip is too good to not have him out at this point in the season. At this point,
Flip has moved into the role as our best player so far in the first 3 games.
100%.
Yeah, agreed.
So I will say I need Roach, obviously. Derek is going to be on the floor. Is Derek?
You taking Proctor out of there?
I'm keeping Proctor in.
You got to keep Proctor.
I got Mitchell at the 4, and I Flip at the 5 right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I would go right today. Also, if like gun to head, if you gave me that, you can't take Proctor out. Otherwise, it's going to be just a ball stopped offense the entire time. Like,
yeah.
I want to like just float something completely insane that Zion and Ryan are both going to absolutely hate. I think there's a world in which in certain games, if he's getting completely roasted on the defensive end, you have to consider the possibility that maybe running Proctor at the 1 and White.
I knew you was going to say that.
There it is. And that's where I go. Proctor, Derek, Mitchell, Flip, Lively.
Oh, you're doing it.
5. Yeah,
that's your choice.
I mean,
wow.
If you're playing and even an unexperienced big team at Roach tonight, I love Jeremy Roach. This is not like a complete bash Jeremy Roach session, but like if we get Jeremy Roach that we saw tonight, who is trying to do it all from the offensive end, like I would take a bigger point guard in Proctor. You get Derek at the 2, you get Mitchell at the 3. That's two guys who are lockdown defenders. I would assume at this point, when Whitehead comes back, that he's going to be a defender that we all assume he's going to be.
Let me just tell people, give your thoughts on what Ryan just said. He just said Proctor.
I didn't even know that. I floated it. Let the record show I floated it.
Mark Mitchell, Flip, and Lively. I need your thoughts. Your thoughts in the chat.
After tonight, I love Roach. Like, dude, I came after last year. Like, I was hoping for Roach to make the step, whatever. But after tonight, we're gonna say Proctor in the second half, when it mattered, was a better playmaking point guard than Jeremy Roach was. He had the ball in his hand, and for the first 10 minutes of the second half, he played better than Jeremy Roach did, especially on the offensive end. And defensively, he's just a bigger guy, a guard. When you're going up against guys from the Big 12 and the Big East and and the SEC with bigger guards who have to defend that. Roach can't, and he's proven time and time again. Even in NCAA tournament, he didn't play any guards that were terribly large that could get that he would have an issue with. So like, right now I'm going Proctor, Whitehead, Mitchell, Flip, Lively.
I
can't call me crazy.
I think that Ryan defensively, that's the reason why I floated it out, is because defensively you're spot on. I mean, like, teams are going to target him. I think that that's pretty clear. I mean, UNC has had great success just targeting Roach since he's arrived, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think
hold on one second.
Bigger, stronger guards. I mean, like, they're gonna target him. They are.
I love Roach, man. I love Jeremy. Like, this isn't like a bash against Jeremy,
right?
But I think in a Final Four national championship type atmosphere, I think if the matchup is right, Proctor as a 6'5" point guard, how are you going to say no to that? And then you have Derek as a 6'6" guard who can score on his own at will.
I agree with that, but I think the Mitchell Flip Lively thing is where I draw the line. I like, because I don't think, like, if the whole reason that you're putting Proctor at the 1 is for the versatility of the lineup, then putting Flip and Lively, like, I think you have to, if you're going to do a Proctor at the 1, Whitehead at the 2 lineup, you have to put Grandison into the mix.
Listen.
What? For who? For Mitchell?
Listen.
No, for one of the bigs.
You could all talk about Proctor at the 1, but it's never going to happen. It's never.
I understand it's never going to happen, but a guy can dream. A guy can dream.
A guy could dream, but that's exactly what it is, a dream. Because Shire is not going to put Jeremy Roach on the bench. Not in Final Four.
I understand that, but what that means is we are going to watch a lot of games this year where our captain. Well, not a lot of games, especially because the ACC sucks again this year. We're going to watch games this year.
Shout out Louisville and Nolan Smith.
We're going to watch games this year where opposing guards are just like cooking or hunting down Roach and cooking him. Like, unless
you better game plan to eliminate that for a defense.
Hold on. I need to stop for 1 second. We got comments. We got comments from Brandon and Carter and your boy, whatever. And I love them all, but saying that Jeremy Roach led us to a Final Four last year, no, Paulo Banchero led Duke to a Final Four last year.
Calm down, Ryan. Now you're going a little crazy because now you're forgetting what Jeremy Roach did in March. Jeremy Roach made that team go. He didn't?
Jeremy Roach played a pivotal part in that game last year. He was very good, but from an offensive standpoint, if you're telling me that Jeremy Roach played a bigger role than Paulo Banchero, you are
he didn't play a bigger
on
role.
something.
But Paulo was Paulo the whole year. We lost games with Paulo playing like that. The reason why we took the next step was because of Jeremy Roach.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy.
I agree.
Yeah, Jeremy had a great game. I mean, maybe I wouldn't say great, but he had certainly a good game, especially down the stretch against Texas Tech. He was not good against Arkansas, if you all remember. He was terrible.
Arkansas. He wasn't good at all. Like he didn't guide us through that game. Like
he wasn't good against UNC, but
yeah, he was bad.
He wasn't good against Arkansas, and he wasn't good against
bad
UNC.
in the Arkansas game. Yeah, I mean,
he played
9
great
points,
in the round of 32
5 turnovers in the Arkansas game. He was just so clutch in the Texas Tech game, and then he was clutch in a couple of games down the stretch of the ACC.
Michigan State for sure.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong.
ACC tournament too.
ACC tournament. He played well, and then he had the big Texas Tech game down the stretch. I'm not taking that away, and like I said, I don't. Obviously, you can't do it. A, because Shire just won't do it, and B, because Roach, outside of like maybe Whitehead, is obviously the best shot creator on the team, right? Like, so the offense, you do need guys who can create shots for themselves in a way that most of the other players on the team really can't. But then the problem you're running into also is because he's the best shot creator, he's also got to be the guy who helps get other people shots. And if he is not doing that, then that's not awesome.
That's and that's my biggest thing with Roach. It's not even, I'm not even looking for him as a scorer. I think it was even realistic to come in, but the expectation of him being like an 18 points per game guy. I mean, that would be nice. But it's more so you got to get everybody involved, especially.
Also, he wasn't good in 2 of the 3 ACC tournament games.
What?
He was good in the Syracuse game. He was bad against Miami. He was bad against Virginia Tech.
By the numbers, because he made a lot of big plays that were beyond numbers.
He made he's shown a propensity to make big plays, but that does make me a little, and we talked about this before, it makes me slightly concerned that, you know, if ill-advised shots go, is he going to keep taking ill-advised shots?
Listen, you got to calm. Y'all. This is a little wild to me. I don't know. And number one is one game. Number one is their first true game against an actual opponent. So like,
not for Roach.
No, but for Roach.
No.
But the thing is, with Roach, he doesn't know these guys. This is not the same team he played with last year. This is a completely different team. So I think even that factored into tonight, because in a big game, he doesn't know, okay, who's my Paolo? Who's my Mark Williams? You know, who's my Wendell Moore? Like, no.
Yeah, I'm looking at Twitter.
Find that out, Zion?
No, but
pass them the ball.
In a game like this, with the stakes that it is, especially against a team like Kansas, he's like, okay, it's early in the season. I'm going to try to do it myself, which I'm not too mad at. I wasn't happy at the shots he took, but his mindset was, I'm going to lead this young team to victory.
Yeah.
And
I got two things. Two things. First is like not everyone. People in the comments are talking about how I'm on Roach's ass. I love Jeremy Roach. I want him to start at point guard for this team. I think he could lead this team to national championship. There is nothing about Roach that he just seemed like tonight he was trying too hard. Second thing, and this is a comment. This is not me. This is not Ryan speaking. This is a comment. Do we think Trevor Keels over Tyrese Proctor makes a difference on this team so far?
I mean, that's
so far doesn't really matter. I don't think we win this game with Trevor Keels over Tyrese Proctor. I don't think he makes a difference in that respect.
I won't say all that. I think it's an unfair comparison. I really think it's a really unfair comparison because Trevor Keels is a guy that just made the Final Four. Trevor Keels is a guy that has won big games in the early season for Duke already. So
yeah, I hear that. But
unfair comparison.
What did we need tonight? Because I think if you replace Tyrese Proctor with Trevor Keels, that doesn't necessarily solve the things that we needed tonight. What we needed was more ball movement, and we needed a larger variety of more dynamic defenders. If you're replacing Tyrese Proctor, who's 6'5", with Trevor Keels, who's 6'5", like that doesn't really help that respect.
No.
And Trevor Keels is definitely not passing the ball.
Trevor Keels is a better defender than Tyrese.
He is, but he's not defending guys down the stretch. They're targeting Roach and Blake still, even if Keels is on the floor.
We shot 14% from 3 tonight. You don't think second-year Keels would have helped?
It was a really bad offensive game for me not to say Trevor Keels would have, he does something, because especially the way this game is going and he could get any shot he wants up, it would have been a different game. But like I said, it's an unfair comparison because
if we think Trevor Keels is the one driving into traffic versus Jeremy Roach, then I do have more faith in that. Yeah. I do have more faith in that.
He won that game literally doing that against Kentucky. The same type of game. They weren't shooting the ball well. Keels was just taking it to the rim at will. But like, it's not fair. It's not fair to think about it like that. Just because I think Tyrese is reclassified and adjusting.
We're not about fair, Zion. This is a talk show. We're talking about what was the difference.
Proctor was easily the second best player on the floor in the second half. I mean, I think we have to agree with that. Yeah. Right. So replacing the second
Flip was the best player.
I said second best player.
Ryan.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read Twitter comments. Okay, I'm trying to catch up on everything.
He was about to have 5 charges tonight, actually. So like that was another thing. We didn't talk about the refs tonight. The refs were my goodness, like that.
Yeah, they weren't good, but if we were passing, then that shit doesn't matter. Like if you're just driving straight in, then you have 2 fewer charges and we win the game. You still have to pass the ball.
I get we have to pass, but some of them were just bad calls. And
I'm not saying they weren't. I'm not saying they were all great calls, but like some of them were good calls, and all of them were not smart possessions to just like shoulder.
Yeah, and like
down driving in. Like you have to
in the second
ball movement.
Yeah, in the second half we had it was like 8-3 fouls in the last minute. Like it's not like we were getting called on crazy ass fouls either. And I want to put this out there. Like I'm reading these Twitter comments finally that I was going through, and it's like I don't hate Roach. Like I just want to see I want to see more veteran leadership and veteran playmaking out of Roach. Like I am all for Roach in the end of the season being our point guard. I just want to see more of the consistency. And it goes back to last season, right? Like we just talked about, there was multiple games in the postseason with whether it was ACC tournament or NCAA tournament where the play just wasn't consistent, especially on the offensive end. And so like I want to see that consistently. And tonight against a good
player this year. Yes.
Exactly. And against a good team shorthanded like Kansas, without their coach, without MJ Rice, and without the 6'10" kid who I forget his name, like he wasn't good enough tonight to lead this young team to victory. And so until I see that, you're not proving to me that you can lead a young team to the promised land, which is the Final Four national championship. Whether or not once Derek comes back, sure, maybe that'll all change, but like you got to
probably, hopefully, he's the guy taking some of these shots down the stretch too, right? Like,
I agree. Yeah,
the thing about Derek, even in a game like this, we kind of seen with Kyle. He shot like he shot really inefficiently all season.
Yeah,
Derek is kind of that. Derek has a little bit of RJ in him in terms.
Yeah, he's a volume guy.
He's a volume guy, and it's going to be ugly.
Flip's played cleanup. Yeah, Flip's played cleanup basically for the most part.
I mean, Flip did pretty well inside. It was the 3-point shooting. His threes just weren't falling. Like inside, he was like 5 for 12, something like that, which isn't that bad. I mean, the problem with Roach tonight is he scored 16 points on 17 shots. He had 1 assist and 3 turnovers in a game where we needed to create shots for other people and we needed to move the ball. Like Flip not moving the ball a ton doesn't surprise me. He's the big man. Like Roach, if you're not getting 5+ assists a game and you're not having a positive assist to turnover rate every game, then like you're not a first team all ACC guy. You're not the guy that we need you to be in order to go to the promised land this year. Like, you know, I want him to be that. I would like it very much. I loved I watched their games. I watched Roach and Keels play in high school so much because I loved that team with Roach and Keels and like Doug McDaniel and those guys. Like they moved the ball. They played well in transition. It was a lot of fun. Like, but man, like if he doesn't have a floater, he can't take
when you're that size.
He can't take 12 2-pointers. And that doesn't include the ones that just resulted in turnovers before he even got the shot up. You know, like it was just bad decision making today, both from a shooting perspective and a not passing perspective. Like, so I obviously Roach needs to be in the final lineup. It's more, and I have my concern is only about Roach's defense down the stretch. I think Roach taking shots down the stretch is great. Roach is clearly one of the best shot creators on the team. I do have some concerns about how we're going to defend guards with Roach on the floor down the stretch in certain games. And I think that's a fair concern until he shows the propensity to defend guards consistently, which he just has never done his entire time at Duke yet.
I think we could close this out with just talk. I saw someone talk about upcoming games. So I think the next show will probably be after the PK 85, whatever it is, PK 80.
85.
Hey, watch out for Bellarmine, man. They took the heat.
Hey, yeah, let's not overlook it. Who they beat?
Bellarmine is garbage, dude.
Who did they beat?
They beat Louisville, who's garbage.
Louisville, bro. Come on. Louisville.
Bellarmine should have. I tweeted.
He's in your intro, Zion. You watch out.
I thought it was funny, but I was like, man, when I thought Appalachian State lost because Louisville made that shot that looked like it went in at the buzzer, I was like, man, what a disappointing loss for Appalachian State. You know, who's a middle of the pack Sun team who was favored against this Louisville team. You know, like
favored tonight.
No, they weren't favored, but they should have been because Louisville sucks, dude. They're awful. Yeah, like Bellarmine should not be a problem. They lost to Morehead State immediately after beating Louisville.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah, they're not good. They're in the same. They're in the same conference as Jacksonville, and they're worse than Jacksonville, notably. Right. So I'm not concerned about that. Delaware, I'm not really that concerned about.
It's
either.
at home. Come on, stop. Don't even say you're even remotely.
Right, I know. I'm just saying it's a.
Let's move on to the PK 80.
It's a small ball team is the only thing that's interesting because, again, I think the way that we see what Shire does against bad teams that are small ball teams will inform how he decides to play against good teams in the ACC that are small ball teams. So there's a little bit of intrigue in that respect. But, yes, we should beat them, obviously. In the PK 85, Oregon State is awful. They're worse than maybe any team we've played outside of USC Upstate. They won 3 games last year. Right? They're terrible. We should absolutely roll them. After that, we're probably playing the winner of Xavier, Florida. Xavier is not healthy right now. Did they win tonight?
Probably winning that game.
They pulled.
I don't know, but Florida's trash. They lost to Stetson, I'm pretty sure, as well.
No, Wait, they didn't also lose to Stetson, did they?
Florida lost to Florida Atlantic.
They lost to Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic.
Castleton. And he's nice.
Yeah.
You could give us a
Colin Castleton is nice.
Where did Castleton come from? He came from a big school, didn't he?
I thought he's always been at Florida.
Sorry, you're right.
Colin Castleton he was at Michigan, and then he transferred to Florida.
Okay,
yeah,
at Michigan. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why didn't CJ Felder play at all tonight. I didn't realize that, or yesterday. I didn't really realize that Florida lost.
If we're being honest with you, we should win 4 in a row, getting us to Gonzaga on Sunday, the 27th.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think the Colin Castleton matchup might be very interesing, and Florida's a smart coach team.
Ryan Young.
Fuck my life.
By then, I think Lively should be in the starting lineup by then.
Colin Castleton would be.
He should be no restrictions because let's be honest, they didn't call it out, and we said this before, but there was an obvious restriction on Lively these last 2 or 3 or 2 games, whatever it's been.
Yeah, 100%. But
yeah,
Ryan Young should not close that game. But anyway.
No, I agree. No, it'll be a Lively. That was satire.
Yeah, Gonzaga doesn't scare me, especially watching them against Michigan State. But obviously, they have a veteran.
That was also on a boat, dude. Let's just be clear. They're a really good shooting team that was playing on a boat with like wind and like rocking and shit.
They were the shooting team. They're playing inside tonight. They shot 2 of 19. So
And Gonzaga was playing on a boat with Drew Timme, who also gets every single call possible.
Well, I mean,
I watched that
entire
game.
Happen. That'll happen
it
against
is absolutely.
They also got
100%
by Tennessee by like 30, right?
In that little like exhibition-y scrimmage.
And Tennessee got beat by who? Colorado, one of the two, yesterday or the day before.
I don't put a lot of stock into exhibition stuff. I mean, they're going to shoot the ball well against us. They're going to move the ball well. I think stopping Drew Timme in the paint is going to be a very interesting challenge for Flip and certainly Lively. Like Timmy's thicker than Lively for sure. Like Timme, like that'll be an interesting matchup in terms of like Lively's got the length and sort of the mobility, but like Timme can also just kind of do what like that Boston College guy did to Mark Williams in the ACC tournament and just like back him down and use like the fact that he's just a big wide dude compared to Lively. Like I'd be interested to see Flip go against Timme. I feel like that.
Flip showed me tonight that he has some muscle to him.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll say I didn't even say that yet. Is that Mitchell and Flip are bigger than what I expected from a college standpoint. In high school tapes, they look big. They look like good physical players, but like getting to college and the transition there is a little bit different. And seeing them tonight was like, wow. Or not tonight, but these first couple of games is like, damn, they're big dudes. They're strong guys. Something that I didn't expect. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think we need Whitehead for that Gonzaga game.
We'll have Whitehead for that game.
I hope he's like he's like fully in and ready by then, right? Not like playing his way into.
Only thing with that, it'll be interesting though because those are 3 games in a row, right? 3 days. Well, 3 days.
No, it's not 3 days in a row. It's Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday would be the championship.
So that'd be interesting how they handle that, because that's still, even for NBA players, that's still a lot.
He should not play on Thursday. We would roll Oregon State without Whitehead. That's not an issue.
If tonight was a Final Four game, Derek would have played. You can't convince me different. I've heard.
Yeah, 100%.
He would have been out there. Yeah. So you don't. But the issue is like, and I think Shire said in the press conference that he's probably doubtful for Friday against Delaware.
Oh, you said that?
Just because he said something about he probably doesn't think he's going to go on Friday. So you're probably looking at you play him Monday, just in a limited role, and then you play him against Oregon State in a limited role. Hopefully Friday, probably the same thing on Sunday. You probably get through this next 2 weeks in a limited role from Derek, and then you roll into December and you get the ACC play with him fully healthy, and you roll from there.
Need him in more than a limited role against Gonzaga, in my opinion.
No, I agree, but like I don't think like it's necessary from a overall like season standpoint.
Sure. I just meant in terms of
I don't know,
having the best shot at winning that game. Julian Strother is a very real deal dude. And Whitehead is like the perfect size and caliber and athleticism of player to sort of deal with that.
I'll give Mitchell that though, right? Like I think Mitchell could guard Strother for.
We need Mark Mitchell on Anton Watson
a day.
Probably.
You're right. Yeah, I forgot about him. That's a good point.
Yeah, because if like Flip is guarding Watson, I don't know that I love that. And yeah, I mean, there's just some interesting matchups,
though, right?
Huh?
Isn't Watson more of a big?
Yeah, he's 6'8", but he's shifty. He's athletic. Like he can move. I mean, like Watson and Mitchell is like Mitchell's more athletic, obviously, and more mobile. But like I think size wise, you're looking at a Mitchell kind of dude. Yeah, I just don't know that I would want necessarily to put Timmy like Lively on an island with Timmy, or God help us if Ryan Young's defending these guys. So like, yeah, I just think that'd be an interesting matchup. I don't want to sleep on Xavier, Florida, because I'll be in the second row for that game in Portland, and I don't want to be the sad Duke guy that becomes a meme. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like if we lose,
dude, do it, man. Dude, if we're about to lose, just cry, just straight cry, Russ, please.
No, I'm just gonna do like the dead stare ahead, and they're gonna do like the slow zoom on my face. You know what I mean? It's gonna be that. Yeah.
Someone did ask, what is Lively's role when he's 100% do coverage?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a perfect world, he's somewhere between freshman year Mark Williams and sophomore year Mark Williams. He's not quite the sophomore year Mark Williams, obviously.
Yeah, but what did you say on the preseason show podcast? What did you say his stat line, best case scenario was?
For Lively?
Yeah.
Was I stunting on Lively? I like Lively. I was high on Lively. It was Flip that I was stunting on a little bit.
Okay, no, but I think you might have said it like 15 and 10.
Oh, well, what I did say about Lively, which is
I don't hate that though.
It ties back to what we were talking about earlier. I was saying that Lively should be getting close to double digits in points purely on putbacks and lobs. And so if you're not tossing him lobs,
you're not tossing him lobs.
Then yeah, he's not getting double digits. I think that's a given.
Hold on, I gotta look it up. What's the wingspan between those two?
Mark's has got to be longer.
Yeah,
Mark's
it has to be
monstrous, but like Lively's, I would imagine Lively's vertical leap is better than Mark's.
100%. He's quicker.
Yeah, Lively's got more of like maybe not like I don't want to say it's Bagley-esque in terms of his second jump, but like
it is.
They're the exact
he's
same. Williams is a 7'7" wingspan, and they're according to Google. Williams had a 7'7" wingspan, and Lively has a 7'7" and 7/8 wingspan.
Oh,
well, maybe I'm wrong.
They don't look like it on the court.
It might be a standing reach issue, Ryan. Like maybe his wingspan is that good, but Mark's standing reach is absolutely ridiculous. Like I think he had like some
right.
like combine record or whatever for standing reach, or I mean, not bigger than taco fall or whatever.
We got to get Lively involved at the end of the day. We got to get Lively
100%.
And we need him to get used to the defense. He obviously still looks a bit like a baby giraffe when he gets away from the rim, right?
Sometimes, but even like,
I mean, he's better than Mark was as a freshman in terms of
saw the big difference, and this was what my big problem with Ryan Young in the game. You saw the big difference is when Kansas attacked the rim versus Lively, then versus Young. It was like
if Lively's at the rim, there's no question.
Yeah.
And even if Lively's not immediately at the rim, even if he's like just on the weak side near the basket, he's way more of a threat than anybody else that we have. I think that's a given. And again, I like the defensive upside that's there. Again, I think he's higher right now than like freshman year Mark Williams was, but he's obviously not sophomore year Mark Williams either. So I would say like somewhere in there, I want to see us run. I want to see him do pick and roll. I want to see like us run plays, man. Like that's the thing that I keep coming back to. If we run plays, I think we've got like the propensity to pass. The guys that are on the team can pass the ball. It's just a matter of we have to, like, the coach has to be like, hey, let's run plays and pass the ball. And then they'll be like, great, let's do that. And then we'll be passing, and then there'll be space, and then it'll create better shots, and then it'll give more room to flip. And everything is better when you move the ball and you create space. And we did not do that at all tonight, except for the beginning of the second half.
Grammy's playing the music, brother.
Yeah.
We gotta wrap it up.
Is that like the Oscars?
Yeah, like the Oscars, bro. Your speech is going too long. 1:30. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Crazy for live episode. We'll be back. Don't be mad about the ball. We'll be all right. Appreciate y'all.